Well, hello once again, and thank you for joining me on the Waters and Stanton video channel. I've entitled this video Cheap but Cheerful Ham Radio. You know, every hobby needs to be accessible money-wise. And if you watch many of the videos, and some of the ones I've done, you can think, well, wait a minute, it's quite an interesting hobby, but I just couldn't afford all that gear. It's just too expensive for me. Well, I want to try and make a few suggestions which perhaps will encourage those that perhaps thought it was too expensive to have a second thought. Why would you want to buy cheap ham radio gear? Well, there are two reasons. The most obvious one, of course, is that you can't afford the more expensive gear. You're on a budget. The other one, which perhaps you haven't thought of, is that some people do enjoy using some cheap gear in addition to the more expensive they've got, just to sort of prove to themselves that a cheap radio works. And this is true, you know. You can spend a lot of money on a radio, but the guy at the other end probably hasn't got much idea what you're using. Provided it sounds okay, it's not distorted, then he's probably happy with what he hears. And some of the cheap ham radio gear will fulfill that facility. It will put out a signal that's okay. It won't have the best receiver response. It may have been used before, it may have been a bit damaged, the case may be scratched and that. But if it transmits okay, then there's no reason why you shouldn't use it. As I say, some people just enjoy buying some cheap gear just to satisfy themselves. So let's look at the options. Now, one of the most obvious options is some of the cheap gear that is coming in from China. And I've had all sorts of comments on below videos that I've published where people have said, oh, well, this is just cheap trash, etc., etc. You know, a lot of gear is made in China now. A lot of parts, a lot of components, a lot of assemblies are made in China on radios that you're probably using. You don't realise where some of the modules have been sourced from. The fact is that you can now buy direct from China some cheap radio. Some of it's probably quite good. Some of it's probably not so good. You, of course, do have the right of returning it generally if it doesn't work when you get it, but once you've got it and been using it, if it breaks down, you may well have a bit of a problem in getting it serviced, and certainly it probably won't hold its value. So if you're thinking about buying some cheap ham radio gear from China, by all means give it a go. But do be prepared for the fact that you may have a few problems, either short term or long term. If you've got some spare cash and you want to dabble and have some fun, then go ahead and do it. No problem at all. I would venture to say that if you're a beginner, probably it's not the best way to start off, because if it does go wrong, you may have problems in getting it serviced. So perhaps the cheaper Chinese equipment is for those that are quite happy to dabble and quite happy that maybe they won't get quite as much fun out of it as they thought they were going to get. But there we are. There is a risk factor there. The more sensible alternative is to buy second-hand. Buy some branded second-hand gear. Names that you recognise: Yaesu, Kenwood, Icon, Ellicraft. You know, these are brand names that have been in existence, and generally speaking, the gear is, if it's been looked after, it's going to be fine. I mean, a lot of ham radio gear will go on for years. Solid state gear is not really affected in the same way as valve gear was. Valve gear did tend to deteriorate somewhat because it was operating in a fairly hot environment. The valves got hot, then they cooled down, and they got hot. And this not only was sort of potentially damaging for individual components, but it used to affect volume controls, etc., etc. But there's plenty of examples of valve gear that's still going. And if you fancy something really cheap and cheerful, but that will work probably quite well, have a look at some valve gear. But again, I would say that's not really for the beginner. If you're a beginner and you want to save some money, then look at more recently produced gear. And most of the modern transceivers now are what we call solid state. So they are likely to be a pretty good buy, provided they're working okay. There's no reason why they shouldn't carry on working. In fact, in modern gear now, it's more likely you'll get a mechanical problem rather than an electrical problem. So where do you buy from? Well, you can buy from us or any other dealer, come to that. If you buy from a dealer, you know it's been checked over, you know you get a limited warranty on it, and so it probably makes sense to actually buy from a dealer. You can buy privately, of course. Privately, it's best if you actually know the source, where it's coming from. And really and truly, my best advice for buying privately would probably be through a radio club. If you buy through a radio club, you can meet the guy that's got the gear. He's going to be honest with you, and you'll save some money. So how is this gear going to work long term? Well, it's going to work pretty well, actually. Ham radio gear goes on for a long time. What should you look out for? Well, you really want to try and make sure that you've got a handbook if possible. You want to have a look at the actual outside of the gear. If the gear is being well looked after and hasn't got any major scratches on it, and if the guy's got the original box and the handbook, it usually to me indicates that it's been well looked after. I mean, it may seem a strange thing to say, but if the customer has got the original box and the handbook, the chances are it's been fairly well looked after. And if visibly it looks okay, then it probably has been well looked after. Now, why would you want to make the choice between this and that? What are the things that you should look for? Well, if we're talking about HF transceivers, one of the modern things is to have an internal antenna matching unit, because that means to say that you can actually be fairly confident that if you plug in a reasonable antenna, it's going to be able to match the antenna. One of the things that you will find with the really cheaper gear, or the older gear, is that it didn't have internal matching units. Now, it's not a problem if, for example, you use a resonant dipole. It's going to work okay. But if you're going to use something like a G5RV multiband antenna, then really, truly, you probably do need some form of matching in. It doesn't have to be built into the transceiver, of course. You can use an external antenna matching unit. If you've got an external antenna matching unit, then you can buy some of these cheaper radios that didn't have internal matching units in them. What else will you need? Well, almost all the base station transceivers work off of a 12 volt supply. So you really need a 12 volt or 13.8 volt DC supply. You can pick up power supplies pretty cheaply, actually. And if you're purchasing a 100 watt transceiver, you need a power supply that will deliver around about 20 amps of power. If you're buying a mobile transceiver where it's, say for example, a VHF transceiver, which has got an output of 50 watts or something like that, then a 10 or 12 amp power supply will do. But really and truly, if you're going to buy a power supply, you might as well buy a slightly larger power supply to cover you for future purchases. So I would say get a power supply that's got a minimum amperage of 20 to 22 amps. Does it matter whether it's switch mode or analog? No, not really. The days of noise from power supplies seems to have vanished now. So if you're going to buy a power supply, switch mode power supply is okay. Switch mode means to say that it hasn't got a heavy transformer in, it's going to be lighter and probably a bit cheaper. The analog power supplies with the built-in transformers, they are going to be heavier, but it's a personal choice really. What else will you need? Well, I would say that probably you need a VSWR meter, because although some of these transceivers will have built-in VSWR meters, they're not always the most accurate. So I would say get yourself an external VSWR meter. That will set you up, and it's always a useful item to have, and to make sure it covers the frequency range that you want. You can get VSWR meters now that cover from 160 meters through to 2 meters, or even 160 meters through to 77s. But an external meter is probably a sensible buy, and it's not going to cost you an awful lot of money. And of course you can buy a second-hand SWR meter, as you can a power supply. Now, as I said at the outset, it's important really that any hobby has an intro path to it where you haven't got to spend a lot of money. I know that some of you will say, well, yeah, but even second-hand is expensive. All I can say is that if you belong to a radio club, you may well find that you get a better deal there than you'll get from the dealer, because the dealer is going to put on a margin. He's going to make a profit. If you want to get a good deal, probably join the local club, and usually one of the members there who probably got something he wants to sell, who knows somebody that's got something that they want to sell, and you won't be paying a margin which covers the cost that the dealer would have to put on in case the radio needs servicing, and also, of course, he wants to make a profit, and also the VAT element. So it does pay to shop around. And you may say, well, Peter, why are you sort of persuading people to buy second-hand and not come to you? Well, you know, we built our business on being honest and fair. And I know that if I give you good advice, you're going to come to me and buy something from me. And as you progress through the hobby, and as you become perhaps more able to spend a bit more money, you'll probably come to us anyway. This video channel, I try not to make it a sort of sell channel. I try not to make it a channel where it's come on boys, look, I've got the best gear here, I've got the best gear here, buy it from us. I know that we've got a reputation that we're proud of, and I know what it's like not to have much money, because when I started out in the hobby, I was really working almost on pocket money, and I was buying gear that didn't even work. I was buying wall surplus gear that I knew didn't work. My challenge was to try and get it to work. If I could get it to work, I enjoyed it. And this really, I suppose, sums up ham radio and buying cheap and enjoying it. If you can find a radio that you can afford, and it's working okay, you're going to get a lot of enjoyment, a lot of satisfaction out of it. So there we are. So as usual, thank you for support on this channel. It's much appreciated. Thank you for your support at the shop and on the website. Don't forget to check our website. And of course, we have got quite a lot of gear on our second-hand gear on our website, so have a look at that. And all the accessories that you might need, we've got them. We've got a massive stock of gear. We try to get the stuff out to you within 24 hours. So check our website and have a look around. In the meantime, as usual, thank you for your support on this channel. It's much appreciated. You take care, and I'll look forward to seeing you, as usual, in the next video. Bye for now.